I don't understand what you're
Do you
saying.
hear me? It popped up in my head like, wait a
I
minute.
saw it. It was like right there on your forehead. I saw it. But no, that's how I think. When they be like, wow, you've done so much. I was like, no, I haven't scratched the surface. Like, what you mean? Nah, there's so much more to do. All right. So if you could, we'll just start by you introducing yourself. And so telling us your name and what type of law you practice.
Hey, so my name is Ebony Michelle Martin. I go by Michelle Martin professionally. I practice personal injury law here in Columbus, Ohio. I'm a litigator, so I do a lot of juvenile law as well. So that's civil litigation. And I also do some restoration of civil rights for those who have lost them due to some type of disability.
Awesome. So my first question for you is, do you see yourself as driven?
Do I see myself as driven?
Yes.
That's a really good question. I wasn't ready for. I guess I should have done a pre-interview, huh? Um, I
Now
mean,
there's
I
gonna be some
guess.
more, so it's fine.
I guess I'm driven. I feel I don't really see it as a thing. I don't have it's not something I can kind of put a label on just because I know that I have a lot of energy. I have a lot of blessings and gifts to share with the world and I don't waste them. So I just push that out. What they say, push that P, I push positivity,
Yeah.
out to the world. And I try to use all the gifts that I've been given to, give back as my way of saying thank you. And so I don't really know if it's a driven mentality. I know I'm busy all the time. I know I'm making a difference. And I know that I'm doing some really good stuff. So I hope, and I guess, what does driven mean? I never even thought about it.
Yeah, that's something you can define. Do you see yourself as driven? What does that mean for you?
Not
The
yet.
podcast is driven while Black, but what does that really mean? You know what I'm saying? In terms of
Yeah,
driven,
that was
how
the
do you define
thing.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know you was gonna come out the gate with it.
Oh yeah, that's how we start.
I like it. I like it. So I don't think so yet. I think that I'm inspired by a lot of women who I believe are driven. I think that I always like to see myself as a baby, kind of in infancy, because I'm always learning new stuff. I'm always developing new things. And I feel like there's going to be a point where I hit my stride and I can really like drive, quote unquote. Right now, I still feel like I'm learning so much that I guess it would be considered driven to outsider looking in. But because I'm so like green in my mind, I'm still learning so much and so much. That I just see so many people who I would consider to be driven, and I'm trying so hard to aspire to, reach that level of professionalism and work ethic.
So do you think it has to do with that level of achievement or the journey to get in there when you like think about yourself being driven?
That's deep. I think definitely has for me right now, I'm looking at the level of achievement and the reason being I'm goal setting like a mofo. I'm really goal setting right now.
Right.
I had so many goals set that I honestly, glory to God, was able to achieve. And so as a result, with that, you reset the goals, you kind of have to take a step back and then the world shifts and changes and you try to figure out where do you fit in all of this. So I look at probably when I'm trying to measure whether or not I'm driven, I'm definitely looking at the achievements because my journey has just been such a whirlwind that I really haven't had an opportunity to reflect and to let it kind of settle in because I am still reaching so much. I'm just reaching so far. And I feel like there are goals I haven't even set yet, that are still just sitting out there waiting on me to figure them out because, we don't know what we don't know, right? So the more and more we develop and learn and grow, the more and more our goals also do that. So I haven't had an opportunity to look at the journey to say whether or not I'm driven. So that's probably why I haven't said that. I'm looking at the achievements that I want to get, the levels of achievement that I like to get to reach.
Yeah, I totally understand that. I'm one of those who keep going for the goal. You don't necessarily pause like, no, I have more. But I kind of see driven as like, a growth mindset. Like I'm going to continue to strive for whatever I can. So
Oh
I
yeah.
like to, yeah. So I mean, I guess I would call my other people call me driven, but you got to have some type
You're
of
a
drive
doctor
as an
lawyer. Heck
attorney.
yeah, you're driven.
You're a whole lawyer, so yes, you too.
True,
But that's
true.
awesome. Okay, so have others described you as driven?
I don't know. I guess I'm back in the day when I used to, participate since the world is quote unquote shut down. That's how I feel like I've been so isolated that I haven't really had many opportunities for others to describe me in the past couple years. But when I really sit back, I look at a couple articles that Super Lawyers has done on me over the past probably 10 years, at least the past 4 years. They've really done some really developed full articles about myself and my practice. And I'm pretty sure in there, when they talked about me having a yoga studio, being a single mom, all these things, they described me as being driven. I'm trying to think, recently I was able to be inducted as a fellow with the Ohio State Bar Foundation. And I think that during the time when we were being inducted by Judge O'Connor, she definitely described, me as well as my other colleagues and our work as it relates to the intersection of foster care and human trafficking risks, and educating folks about that. She seemed to, really focus on me, and she said a lot about me being driven. So I guess I did hear that portion of it, but there's still so much more work to do in that area that I was kind of like, oh, okay, thanks, let's get it, y'all. Because I mean, it was an idea, it's like, here are these ideas we're going to do. So I'm like, it's nice to celebrate that we're coming together to have these ideas. Now let's put them in
Execution.
play. Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, you're driven. I love it though, because I totally get it. So you just dropped a whole little, first of all, congratulations. Because you kind of just threw that. Yeah, when I was at Super Lawyers and the judge was just, rewarding me for this. And then I just opened a yoga studio. So, excuse me, come on, rewind. Let's
right. Like, let's
talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. So you're opening a yoga studio?
Yes, actually, where I'm sitting right now. That's why if you hear a little bit of an echo, it's on the same strip as my law office. So the law office is on the 10th floor on Gay Street, and then the yoga studio is called ML Lounge. We're down here. We do, right now we're doing private events, but now that the world is opening back up, we're going to have a full service bar. And that's really just so that we can pay, like the rent and stuff downtown. It's only open, the bar is open in the evening, but during the daytime, it's a full service, a full yoga and stretch studio. Right now we have private sessions because the space isn't really that big, and we were trying to be, COVID safe or whatever. So we've had a really great support from the downtown residence area, as well as, other colleagues in the area. We're right across from, the residency. And so people come, from out of town, they're like, oh, how can we sign up for yoga? And, that's great, great advertisement. So, I mean, it's a small operation, but yeah, I got certified during the pandemic because I thought it was great for mental health. And so just started doing it like, online, like the lives or whatever.
Yeah.
And so before that, I had, we were going to open up a wine bar downtown.
Okay.
And there was, it was a nice little space or whatever. But more importantly, I was like, well, what are we going to do with it during the daytime? And the YMCA down here was closing down. So I'm like, we can do a yoga studio. I never intended to be a yoga instructor. I just thought that's a really cool idea, so this was pre-pandemic. And I'm like, well, we can have a yoga studio. I know a lot of great yoga instructors who would love to come for the cause. I'm willing to donate my time and resources to make sure the kids that want access to meditation as well as yoga actually have access. So that was the original goal. Then the pandemic hit, and it was like, wow, this rent is real, and we really can't do nothing in here. Like, it's deep. We're in the heart of downtown, so it's like,
oh wow, yeah.
But we made it through to this side. So big things are about to pop for us at the end of April. We're supporting the HBCU Classic. I think it's the Columbus Classic or Classic for Columbus. And so we're hosting a couple different things. But I won't do any plugs because this is an interview. So We'll talk about
No, I need to hear more about it when we get done. That's awesome. I know some Black yoga instructors, so that would be good. So yeah, let me
Yes.
know that we're, and I know
Good
we're
network.
always looking for space. I do stuff with youth and different things, and we're always looking for a space to do different things and activities. So I'm good to know. Thank you. Yay.
Yes, yes.
Congratulations. I wish I would have known you were open during or you had this space during the pandemic too. I would have reached out then too.
Yeah, I mean, and we're here. We're gonna be here. I appreciate it. We actually had like a long road to go. With contractors and different things like that. So that's why when the contractor called, I was like, I know we got this interview, but give me 1 second because we're really like right at the tip, and I'm trying to get
Try to schedule.
to completion. So yeah, it's been a blessing to be here. And like I said, we're just in a really great space. The energy's amazing.
Good.
So yeah.
That's so exciting. That's awesome. So what is your fuel? Like what fuels you? You talk about these different things that you've been doing. You're an attorney. What fuels you?
Wow. Because I can, right? And I should. Like, there is a responsibility on folks who have the ability to do these great things, right? Like not everybody can be a lawyer or everybody can. I don't know, but I could. So I was like, let me do this because, it was put in my heart and it was continued to say to me, to my family. So it was instilled in my brain that, I had the spirit and the skill of advocacy as well as public speaking. I don't really meet any strangers and I'm okay with that. I'm comfortable in my skin 1,000%. I always have been, so it's just, and I'm okay with making mistakes. So I think it's really acceptance of myself that helps me be more confident. And so when I get, the idea to help someone, or I think that there's a gap that needs to be filled, I step into that, that gap to help. And that's just, it's in my spirit to do. I can't really describe where it comes from. A lot of times I have family and friends that'll say, Michelle, you need to sit back, or, you're doing too much, or why did you want to do that? Or why didn't you hire somebody to do that? And I'm like, well, it needed to be done, you put on your cape is what they say. But I mean, literally, it's like it needed to be done. I don't know anything else other than if there's a need, it needs to be filled. And if we have the ability to do it, let's do that. So I really, that's what it is. I mean, I have, there's some other outside factors, but honestly, that changes because I could say it's my son, but as we know, kids, they get older and teenagers, they ain't got no love for you once they get a certain age. So I can't put it all on him because he'll hurt my feelings out here. But, I mean, he definitely, one of the main factors, but that's what it is. It's just in me. I think I can't sleep at night sometimes trying to figure out how to solve certain things. It's just it's a spirit.
And you don't call yourself driven.
I just didn't think about it. I'm so sorry for that. I didn't think nobody ever asked me.
Okay, so after today, you might say something a little different. Ask you tomorrow, huh?
Absolutely. Tomorrow, I'm on. You know what? At 5:00.
You'll know. You got it. Okay, got you. All right, that's awesome. So, how does being Black influence your drive?
Oh man, because it's so cool to be Black. Like, I mean, honestly, it's difficult, because we have our challenges, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's just such a beautiful thing. It's just outside of beautiful, I guess we'll start there. And then there's so much strength behind it. And there is, of course, some portion of being a Black woman. So I have to say Black woman when I'm saying Black. There's some portion of being a Black person that you get tired of people associating that with strength and saying, oh, they're a strong person, or because you've had to deal with so much and, being the token person, and people are looking at you and saying, oh, well, it's just so sad you had to go through that, and pitying you. So, I mean, there's on that spectrum, there's so much exhaustion and, that can be downtrodden sometimes. But because of what I've been able to see our people do, like my grandfather was a sharecropper, which, that's just fancy term for, a slave who may get something at the end of the year if there was anything remaining. And so, this is my grandfather, not great grandfather. I'm talking about the man I spoke with today on the phone. He being Black, I guess, he makes me proud. Now that I think about it, he makes me proud to be like Black because he owns like so many properties. He helped to design the 3-wheeler for GM when he worked there, and he can barely read because he was a sharecropper, but he raised his family, raised everybody, the grandkids, especially to go to college, and just has a stake in this land. And he, comes from Arkansas. And so his experiences and telling me about like, everything he had to go through to get to where he is at this point and just his limitations, but not allowing him to stop is really awesome. And then the fact when we come into the room, we command a room. When we speak, we command attention, not even on purpose, it's just who we are, and the fact that there are people who see that and are intimidated by that. And for me, I remember being in corporate and hearing folks, say the same thing I just said 4 or 5 times. I've said it 3 or 4 times. They say it one time as if it's a brand new idea and being frustrated to say, well, what did I say that was different? And really asking someone because I need to know. And they're saying, oh, no, nothing was different. It's just who it came from. Well, I'm sorry, what? That didn't resonate with me. And so, being Black in those environments, it was a very good lesson because I think that at some level, we all need to, on both sides, experience what that looks like so that we can be passionate enough to try to change that. Because that used to make me sick to my stomach. Like going to work used to really make me sick to my stomach. And I had a great job. It paid well. My ex-husband was like, husband at the time, he was like, this is the best job you could get us. I'm like, oh, I'm happy you happy, but right.
But I'm not. So
at all. So, I mean, I think that being Black for me, especially at this point in my life, is just such a beautiful experience and such a blessing because of everything that we have had to go through and where we are now and the stuff that we can see and we can point out, and be bold about, especially as articulate, what's the word I'm looking for? Well-respected, well-spoken. Like when, we can talk about these things and it's not just, oh, you're the angry Black woman. It's like, no, this is really happening. Like, did you see this? Calling people out, I love it. I love it. The togetherness of us, I love it. And I think we're doing better about that.
Yes, I agree. There's definitely a shift. And I want to say it's a shift because I just find myself surrounded by so many Black women that are here to support other Black women. It's not like a tear down. It's like, no, how can I lift you up? And how can we both be better? So no, I definitely agree. And I'm interested and excited to see what is to come for us as Black people, because we doing it. Like, I don't know what else. We're like, no, this is ours. You can move out the way. Thank you. And then it's like, if you don't want me here, great, I'm gonna go create it. So I'm here for it. I'm like, if they not making space for you, there's some space over there. Go build it. Okay. Right.
And you will widen that space and make it your own and make it beautiful. And
and they'll be asking to come over there.
Like,
look at that.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. So let's talk about you being a lawyer. How did that happen? What started that for you?
So, just like a lot of young girls or whatever, not everyone, but a lot of young girls are like, I want to be a doctor or a lawyer. And I wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer. And so as I was growing up, my grandfather, he would always say to me, you're going to be a DJ or a lawyer, because I was always talking, like always advocating, always doing something. And so he would say that to me all the time. But as a kid, because I felt rebellious to some degree, I was like, well, I'm gonna be a doctor because I like, messing with bugs and dissecting stuff. And I like learning all the little flashcards with the names of the animals, their habitats, things, so I'm like thinking about zoology and all these things.
Yeah.
And so then I realized I don't like blood.
Oh yeah.
I can't handle that. So that's something that a doctor would, that's important, right? Like,
Yeah.
I can't really deal with a lot of icky stuff and, certain things I'm just not going to do, certain things I'm not going to look at. He was saying those things and I was thinking, oh, that's a great idea, Grandpa. But I love dance and different things. Like I was in theater, all kind of stuff in school. So I love the arts and I couldn't figure out how I would make that. Nobody I knew was a lawyer. So nobody could tell me why that could fit into being a lawyer.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I go to college and I'm introduced to the mock trial.
Okay.
I fall in love with mock trial and I'm really good at it. I mean, every team that I was on, I led them to win competitions in and out of state. And I say led because we can't undermine and shortcut our skills. That is a skill set that God has given me. And I love it and I use it well. And so when, being prepared for trial and being able to present a trial, there is nothing like it. I mean, there's no food, there's no experience like it. And so that's my element. And so I appreciated like that experience. And so in law school, I did the same thing. My trial that year, what was it, 2000, I want to say 16, 2011, 10 and 11. And I want to say 9 and 10, but I have to look back, but I know 10 and 11 for sure. And so, I mean, just a great experience. And so I wasn't a lawyer yet.
Okay.
In law school, in undergrad, competing with the mock trial was really, really cool. But I was still getting my degrees in communications, public relations, and then paralegal studies. So I knew ultimately I would use it, for the law. I just couldn't figure out how lawyering would work for me yet. But all these little pieces were kind of coming into play, right?
Okay.
And so then, I graduated and I gave birth to a boy and it was awesome. So I wasn't in law school yet, but I had this boy. Mm-hmm. And so that was really cool. And I was like, okay, little boy, what are we going to do? So we went to law school, he and I.
We went to law
school. He was 1 and I was 24. So
okay.
We went to law
school at 1 year old.
At 1 year old, he was getting it, girl. Some days he was really in the classroom though, up there in the back,
you gotta do what you gotta do.
Exactly. And I love Capital so much for that. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, it of course, as a mom, as a young girl, as a Black girl, as a single mom, I felt embarrassed, just off of the strength that, I'm sitting in a sea of my counterparts with rings on their fingers or marriages and, parents and all this support. Yeah. And then I'm sitting over here, my little brown self with my baby, looking like a stereotype is how I felt, not really recognizing that, oh, well, I am here.
Mm-hmm. And you're still doing it.
So it was at that point in time, that was a very humbling experience. And I had some difficulty getting through law school because I was a single mom and I just had an untraditional route. But it was like this, peaks and valleys, and lots of prayer. And then all of a sudden I was there and it was like go time. I think the chill set in because, you get your bar results. If you take it in July, you get your bar results Halloween, which that's my birthday. And so that day, my son, he was preparing to go to school, and he can read at this point. So imagine that we start law school together. Now he can read, or he can read my name. So I can't, he wasn't that big, but he was going out to catch the bus and the bus was right there at our driveway, and I'm like looking up and down the screen because, it's online and I couldn't find my name. And he said, oh, there's your name, Mom. And walked out the door.
And walked out the door. He didn't know.
I didn't. I couldn't find it. I was
that's awesome.
It was.
That's awesome.
And I had a chill then. And from that moment on, I was like, I am going to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you made that decision.
I made that decision then. I guess I feel like even as I'm telling my story, I kind of feel like it was made for me. Even like now, because I'm looking at those pieces of the puzzle that I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think there's just certain, when you look at the women for me, when I look at the women I meet in law school, I've met in law school, there's just a common thread of like, I don't know, there's a common, I can't put my finger on it, but there's some commonality amongst all of us that kind of just, I don't know if it's the rigmarole of going through law school and you're kind of like thinking like a lawyer, right? You know, talking and speaking differently. But I think even to get to that point and to want to go through such hazing, you know, there has to be some type of commonality.
Grit. Yeah, some type of grit or some type of trait. I don't know if somebody need to do that study, but there's something.
Yeah, and to get through it.
Get through. Yeah, for sure.
Lots of people started and they're like, wait a minute, this ain't it.
Not for me. I don't understand the struggle. I don't know why we gotta do it like this. I'm gonna go do something else.
Yeah.
No, I totally understand. What would you say? Oh, go ahead.
Well, no, I was gonna say I was also told it's the most powerful degree that you can have.
A law degree.
Yep. The only thing you can't do is practice medicine, they say.
I've never heard that, but that's cute. But it makes sense as to why they make the process hell to get it. Because for me, I'm like, no, can we change this? This doesn't make any sense.
It's a self-regulating profession. I mean, so I don't necessarily, the process is a beast in so many respects. So, I don't love it for that part. I think it bars certain people unjustifiably.
For sure.
But I also think that it should be hard because, we do have a self-regulating profession and you do have, no cap on your ability to, generate your income. We consult with so many folks and have so many, folks respect us in our areas of expertise. So it's it's a lot of responsibility to have the degree. So I do, and to utilize it, but they do make it hard. Oh, so hard.
I totally understand that concept. I do think it comes with a great responsibility, for sure, and definitely should be challenging, and the standard should be of excellence. But like you said, there are some things that happen in the process that are systematic that lead to inequitable outcomes, especially for Black people. So, for example, less than 5% of lawyers in the United States are Black. And in Ohio, where we both currently are, it's around 3%. So, yeah.
It seems like so many folks, so many Black lawyers.
No, you probably know all of them if you think about it.
Right.
You probably know all of them. So no, not that many. But so around 3%. So when we're thinking about that in that process and how you've accomplished, and I want to say so much, and are accomplishing so much, because when people say that sometimes, and I can assume for you, when people say have accomplished so much, you're like, there is so much more to do. I don't understand what you're saying.
You hear me? It popped up in my head like, wait a minute.
I saw it. It was like right there on your forehead. I saw it. But no, that's how I think. When they be like, wow, you've done so much. I was like, I haven't scratched the surface. Like, what you mean? No, there's so much more to do. So I totally understand. But what would you say is your greatest success thus far?
This is going to sound a little capitalistic, but we need measurables. My greatest work success or professional success thus far has been achieving multi-million-dollar status for my clients, settlement status and judgment status for my clients.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is in what year is this? 2022. So I've been practicing for 8 years, and in less than 10 years, I've been able to recover over $10 million for my clients.
That's awesome.
I mean, that makes me feel really, really good for them. And there's been years that they've had, multi-million-dollar settlements and verdicts. And that makes me feel really good because that means that I am developing the cases appropriately. I'm providing people with really good service, and I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to do. I don't shortchange folks. I take big risks because I want big returns for my clients. I'm willing to put myself out there for them because I don't want to just, tuck tail and run, because I just feel like as an African-American firm, you know, a lot of times we have limited resources compared to our counterparts. And as a result, we tend to settle cases that, you know, at a lower value than what they should be settled. We tend to not actually litigate cases that should be litigated before our juries. And I just feel like I feel most successful as an attorney because I know that I don't shortchange them, and I don't just take settlements. I don't, you know, I push for jury trials. I push for high settlement returns for my clients. The good and bad of it is that I would love to like pinpoint a big case, but we haven't had any jury trials in the past couple years. And right before then, my settlements were just they've been really high. And even now they've been really high. I have plenty of cases that are currently pending in common pleas court to be tried, which hopefully will get some really good trials. But I've just been getting some really great settlements. Okay. Because I work with opposing counsel to make sure that they see my client's side. I mean, I just think for me as a practitioner, I can't pinpoint to one thing because I'm just so proud of the development that my firm is doing right now and the type of service that I'm able to provide right now. Yeah. And so like, I know if I had like some clients, they could tell you, you know, like, oh, she's been able to do this. I mean, I have a 100% success rate in Franklin County for restoration of civil rights, you know, so I think that that's a great, and that allows me to help people who had a disability from being able to own a gun, for example, or sit on a jury, or the right to vote. You know, they had those rights taken away from them because they had some type of disabling factor, like committed a crime, and a specific disqualifying crime, most of the time being drugs or some type of domestic violence, you know, and not even having to actually physically touch the person, but, you know, just having that domestic violence there. And I think that people were sometimes abusing that law. And then, you know, I want to go back in and see what really happened. I mean, because if you're really abusing someone, then no, we're not having that. I mean, so don't come to me. That's why I have 100% success rate, because I'm going to go into your case and I'm going to tell you like, hold on, oh no, you know, this isn't going to happen. He's like, you know, whoever it is, he or she, they'll be like, well, I didn't touch her, or she, well, no, that's not what this says. And according to X, Y, and Z, you know, here we are. And so I think that just like I said, the stage I'm in my career, being able to educate, you know, people about the repercussions of, you know, domestic violence actions now, and how that could lead you to a place later on where you don't even think, like, now you can never own a handgun. Now you cannot even, you know, sit on a jury to fight, despite the fact that you own property, you know, and should have a say in the right to sit on a jury and say. So yeah, just the space I'm in right now, you know, the practitioner space and being able to get this information out. That's probably my most achieved, my highest achievement, if I would say, in my career. If I don't even think you asked me that, but
in your career, I said your greatest success. I didn't necessarily say in your career. I was going to ask you. So if you had no cap, whether no category, no cap, what would you say is your greatest success
thus far?
Thus far.
Dang, that's far. It's gonna sound horrible because, like, my son got a job yesterday at Kroger's, and it's his first job, so I feel like he's responsible, and so I feel like he's balanced. I feel like, and he's on the honor roll. He runs track. He just got on varsity track. I'm about to sit over here and cry talking about this boy. I am like so proud of him and his balance, and so that's probably it. Like my greatest accomplishment so far, if you ask me today, because, you know, I mean, just the level of intensity and time that we give to these careers and these, you know, building of them, and, you know, are educating ourselves and trying to be the best, and, you know, working, kind of burning it on both ends, because you have to work just as hard as your counterparts, and you got to be excellent for your people, you know, and you holding yourself to a standard. And then, you know, I also saw that he's here, and I brought him into this world, and he deserves a full mom. Like, everybody loves me, you know, like, and not in a mean way, not in a cocky way, but they should. Like, I am that. I am love. I don't walk around with anything other than that, you know. So in that respect, I want him to feel like, well, y'all getting the best of my mom. How is it possible? You know what I'm saying? I'm getting whatever's left, or I'm getting tired mom, you know? So I just, the fact that he's being balanced now, because it has been a road, you know, and none of it's been easy, you know, but the fact that he seems balanced, and he's seeming healthy, and he's looking good, and he just got this job yesterday. He was so proud of it because getting your first job, that's acceptance. And it's like, wow, it's my independence. I won't let him get his driver's license until he gets straight A's because I am that mom. I'm like, you can get a job if you get on honor roll. You get your driver's license.
It would have been a challenge. We would have been toe to toe. I'm like, straight A's. Excuse me.
Girls are so different because he can do it. He can do it.
Okay.
I know he can do it.
Yeah.
And if he don't tell him, we said this come out in June, he'll have him by then. He's gonna get it anyway, and I'm gonna get him a car. That's why I want the straight A's. Yeah, he was gonna get a car for his birthday, but his grades were not where I needed them to be. So I cannot accept rewarding mediocrity because that's not what I'm showing you, I hope. So I'm like, well, if I'm showing you something different, then let me back up, rewind.
Yeah, no, I get it. That's awesome. So
that's my greatest achievement right now.
That's good. That's great. So people kind of underestimate raising a whole human, like a good human. Like that is an accomplishment on top of doing whatever else. Like that is an accomplishment, raising a good human, period. Like we don't need nothing else. That's it. On somebody's tombstone, what'd you do? I raised a good human.
A good human. Listen, and that's what I want him. That's what I tell him. Like, look, you represent me, honey, and go out here and represent well. And I think he's doing that well.
Good. That's awesome. Well, congratulations again. That's exciting. And congrats to him. Let him know I said congrats. Those are wonderful accomplishments, especially on the new job. It offers new experiences and opportunities. So I'm here for it. That's awesome. Okay, so what does a typical day look like for you?
That's a great question because I do the same thing just about every day.
Okay.
So I get up between 4 and 6 and I stretch, I pray, meditate, thanking God for this awesome day. Go ahead. Now I have a new puppy. So he added a new part to my routine. So of course I get him together, feed him, all that stuff. My son gets up about 6. So, I get up, talk to him, try to make sure his head is in the right place and get us together. Then I go to the office as soon as I know he's good. I'll go to the office until it's time to go to the gym. I go to the gym about 9 a.m. And I usually like to do that because I like for the staff to get in and get themselves together and not really they usually have notes and stuff from me already. So they don't need my loud voice and, in there unless there's something going on. Cause I know they got to get in, get their heads together, get their coffee, and then after I get done with the gym, I, take a shower, come on back down to the office. And that's kind of like, I call it like quarter 3, because usually after I leave the gym, I'm working on my phone, I'll sit in the gym parking lot for probably like an hour, just working on the phone. It's so funny. They laugh at me all the time. But the type of gym I go to, it seems like everyone there is either the director of mega teams, or, they are the CEO of X, Y, and Z, or the owner of like a bunch of Genji's to go,
okay.
They're people that's got some good energy going on. They got some good advice, financial advice. So, they get why I'm sitting in the parking lot. They doing the same thing most of the time. It's just because you getting the workout in when you can get it in.
Yep.
Because that's something that has to happen daily. And then afterwards, I'm usually at work until my son gets out of one of his extracurriculars. So he does, like, right now he's in track. He also boxes and he plays football. So depending on what his schedule is like. Okay. And in the evenings, of course, I'm going home to read and kind of wind down, have some tea. Depending on if there's a show that I like to watch, I'll try to watch a little bit of TV. I'm not much of a TV watcher. It's usually watching me. But I try to stay current, because I am on social media quite a bit, and I don't like to see people with spoiler alerts.
Yeah.
So I try to at least stay current.
Catch it before they tell you.
Yeah. So something will be playing in the background that's, popular, just so I can kind of stay current. But yeah, just a lot of, but I do that just about every day. That's my core things. I mean, you can toss in there whatever, activity or interview, if you will, or yoga session, because someone might schedule a yoga session, but my core doesn't really change. That's the same thing I've probably been doing for the past, 7, 8 years.
Okay. Oh, that's
I'm a
awesome. So
morning
that works for you.
person.
Okay. Yeah, you said 4 a.m. 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. That's
Without
early.
an alarm.
Oh, you missed that
Yeah.
part. Okay.
Yeah. It just happens. I
4 to
get
6.
fidgety. Like my cousins, they laugh at me because if you go on like the girls' trips or the cousins' trips, we would all like Thanksgiving or stuff. We're sleeping on a big couch or on a big California king bed, and they already know we can't sleep with her because at the latest, we don't care if we go to sleep at 4 a.m. This girl's gonna get fidgety by 5:15. I
That's
got to get
hilarious.
moving.
I understand. That was me this morning. I tried to sleep in because I didn't get to sleep till late. And I was like, I don't really have any meetings. I want to make sure that I'm, together for my grand evening. And so, but it didn't work. I woke up before my alarm clock. I was just there. I said, okay, Lord, well, I'm going to just get up because I'm just here staring. I'm over here running through everything I could be doing in my head. I'm like, okay, get up. Just get
You
up.
may as well. Yeah, that's the thing. Because it will just keep on going, keep on going, keep on going. I've tried to put the pillow over my head. I put all kinds of stuff and it just keep on going. I say, you know what? Just go ahead and get up.
Get up. No, get up. That makes sense. What does a 1 out of 10 day look like for you?
What does that mean?
So like you have a 10 out of 10 days and you have a day that's a 1 out of 10. In your legal journey, what would a 1 out of 10 day be for you?
Lord. When you come in and you can't find parking, because we're downtown.
Okay.
Can't find parking. You got a bunch of clients that maybe are upset that you ain't called them back yesterday or you ain't called them back in the last hour and they called you 15 minutes ago. You miss deadlines. You find out from opposing counsel that you missed a deadline and now the whole case is you got to start all over. Or shot. You find out that maybe your client was doing the stanky leg on what is that, Instagram or Twitter TikTok. Over the weekend, TikTok over the weekend. There we go. And now you find that out from opposing counsel. 1 out of 10.
Their broken leg. Their broken leg was
they broken leg. Listen, because if any of my clients doing the stanky leg on TikTok, and I'm a personal injury attorney, that's a problem.
Yep.
Listen, that's one of the conversations we have. Like, I'm not telling you to not, but I'm telling you that if you're okay, then they gonna know you okay because you're doing the stanky leg on TikTok. So yeah, so those types of things, but starting with the parking probably, and then just ending with maybe a bad lunch, and because ain't nothing like messing up my lunch. Sometimes lunch is the highlight of my day. It really is, because I'm a foodie.
Me too. I get it.
We in the right place for that because Columbus, they have a lot of great food around here.
Yes, we do.
And so, yeah, messing up my lunch, that'll be, but it would have to be all these things,
all of them. Okay.
Yeah, on one, because usually I try so hard. People, they laugh at me, but I try to latch on to that one good thing. If I can find that good thing, because there's always going to be some little jabs and punches throughout the day. That's what we do, so I gotta, whenever I see that kind of happening too often, I'm like, whoa. Where's the good thing here? And then I'll just focus on that. I'm blessed. I'm young. I'm beautiful. I got energy. Hey, here's a parking space right here. I can go have dinner if the lunch was bad. I could save my calories and do, all the things.
Mindset. That was going to be my next question. Just keep going. Let me hear it. Because I don't say, how do you get to the next one? Well, how you get from that 1 out of 10? You like, that's it. Okay, awesome.
I focus on the good. It's when my son calls, there's the saying that says, when you focus on the good, it gets better. I think I wrote it, but yeah, it grows, right? So I just try to focus on the good stuff and because I know the enemy's tactics, I know when he try to attack us, and I ain't even gonna bring up Will because it'll be way over by the time this is air. But you could be really on the top of your game, and then all of a sudden here he come with some BS, mess you up, and then you fall into that, as opposed to saying, okay, I still got to get back up and focus on this good thing, because that little bad thing, that's the same thing as this good thing, except I'm focusing on the bad thing more. So let me focus on this good thing. This ain't gonna take me out. but this might take me up. Like, you know what I'm saying? So let me get, because this ain't it.
Come on, dropping bars. This might take me out, but this gonna take me up. Okay. Bar drop. I love it. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it's that concept of, the yeast. You got one little piece. Which one you want? You want the good one or you want the bad one? Either way, it can multiply, but depends on what you want to focus on. So I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I got out the car one day, and I don't know when I honestly adopted that. I probably have been trying to do that my whole life, but I can tell you when I really actualized that it bothered people, and now that makes me do it even more. I'm real with you, because that's when I know you ain't nothing but the enemy. If you have a problem with me being happy and positive, you are the devil. Like, and that's okay. You're the devil to me, and you can stay out of my space. I'm okay with that. But I'm gonna tell you when I found it out. I was, I couldn't open up my yoga studio because it was a pandemic. I had people trying to quit left and right and trying to find the right, employees. Because again, it's a pandemic and I'm still an employee. I'm an employer. I'm a small business. I'm struggling like nobody else. I mean, like everybody else. Sorry. Mm-hmm. But I am playing the City Girls or Janet Jackson. One of the two. I was happy though. Getting out of the car, pulling up to the office, I found a great parking space, and there were 4 white men who 2 of them were maintenance, like supervisor maintenance, and the other 2 worked with them, who were watching me. I seen them, it was the end of the song, I was feeling myself because I'm like, I'm about to get out of here. They don't know what I'm going through because, when you're going through your stuff, you feeling your song, and I'm like, I'm going to pump this up. It's going to be a great day. I don't care what's going on. Even if it's just me in this office, we going to get it. Mm-hmm. So I get out when the song is over, boop, boop, lock the door, I'm crossing the street, and I seen them see me, but you can't take my joy, devil. So I beeline straight to the door. And here he comes, the one with the least amount of teeth in his mouth. He comes over he made the way to me, like he was a track star, just so he could come and, hey, it started telling me about some negative stuff. I mean, so many things that I just literally was like, hey, don't ever come to me and talk to me about any of those things again. They don't relate to the relationship that you and I have. You are maintenance. And if I need assistance, I'll go to the landlord and he will ask you to come and help me. I'm in no way trying to be rude to you, but what you're talking about is not anything that you and I ever need to discuss. You need to stop that now. Don't you ever bring it to me. Like, you have to stop people and their negativity right at the, no, I'm not for that. And I felt conflicted a little bit because I felt like, dang, I didn't want to come at him like that, but you came at me like that. Yeah. I'm literally just trying to be happy. I ain't asked you to come over and say nothing to me. I'm a waiver. You know what I'm saying? Just, I'm high because I'm nice, but I know when you on some BS and I don't want that. And so I had to, and now he tells me about his church. So now he's all good things when he talks to me, but you got to stop. You and all your friends. Yeah. Because I'm his. So you messing with the wrong one. If you mess with church too, then you need to know you can't mess with his. Yeah. You better go on somewhere. So that's when I knew. I got it in the devil
and he will flee. That's in the Bible.
Yes. Yes. I am enlarging that positivity. I'm just trying to, that's when I knew, like, oh no, you can't do that. Because bad stuff happen all the time. We get caught up with issues. I mean, we are, especially if you're a risk taker, if you're a pusher, you pushing it to the limit, a lot of the times that's where faith comes in. That's where favor comes in, so just positive and focusing on that.
I love it. Okay. So this is a fun question. What is the title of your album cover that explains your driven wild Black story?
Oh,
what is the title to your album cover that explains your driven wild Black story?
Well, my son would get so mad if I named it that. Okay. The coldest winter ever.
Okay. Give us a little context. Is this an R&B, country, rap, gospel? What kind of album do we have here?
It's definitely going to be some rap, more rap, maybe a little bit of R&B on the hook. But yeah, when I was in high school, I was a part of a group and we did some raps. I used to rap on my answer machine. My name
Okay.
was Baby E at the time. And I was reading, honestly, probably at the tail end of my rap career of high school, I started getting more into like the street novels, like because I used to read my mom's Danielle Steele outside of, because that was the only fun books I could read, right? So like everything else was like Moby Dick, and I'm like, Mom, we don't read this in public school. How you got me reading Scarlet Letter, and they ain't even reading this at school? But they eventually did, but you know, we were reading it younger, and actual Color Purple before we could see the Color Purple. So point being, this the Coldest Winter Ever was like a movie to me at the time, because it was so live and Memorex. Like, this girl Winter had lived this crazy life, and I was like, oh my gosh. Like, and you know, I was so in love with books at the time that I probably read the book twice before like my teachers told us don't read it because all the stuff that was in it. I know, right? And so, but it changed kind of like my outlook about guys, my outlook about like girls and how we carried ourselves around men, because I was so gullible. And the way she learned how to deal with men, I was like, well, now. It was such a young age. And so I had never been introduced to this type of lifestyle before. Like, you know, we didn't have cable, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know what was going on. We didn't have social media, you know, I didn't know what was up. So this girl introduced me to like really a drug dealer's type of girlfriend type of lifestyle. And I was like, well, this seems fancy, you know?
Luxurious.
Right. Oh my goodness. What? She's Chanel. What is that? Like, literally, that's how I'm introduced to these things, you know, reading these books. I mean, luckily it went through a music video, but point being, that being my introduction makes me feel like, you know, the part of me that would make me identify with pop culture or makes me cool starts there. So I think that I could wrap my story, you know what I'm saying, talking about the coldest winter ever and coming out on the other side. And then, you know, I always feel like R&B always makes things smooth.
Okay. I love it. Well, how can folks stay in touch with your drive?
Oh man, so many ways, right? They can send a courier pigeon.
Did not expect that answer at all.
No. I'm definitely Michelle Martin, your attorney, on Instagram, the Martin Law Firm on Facebook, ML Lounge on Facebook, ML Lounge on Instagram as well. So, and then www.emarlaw.com. I'm definitely available. Telephone number is on the website. Like, again, courier pigeon is fine.
She told y'all her routine. You meet her in the parking lot at the gym.
Listen, hey, absolutely. Boss Fitness, or they can definitely come here for yoga on Sundays. In May, we're going to have yoga here at least twice a day on Sunday. So one for the early birds and one for the brunchers.
Awesome. Okay. I love it. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. Is there any last words you want to leave with the people?
Just don't stop pursuing, you know, whatever it is that you want to achieve, because you're going to eventually get there. You know, the only thing that's going to pass is time. So, you know, you may as well go ahead and give it your all while you have the energy and the mindset to do it, because if it popped up in your head, you can create the space for it. You know what I'm saying? Well, how people in relationships say you make time for people you want to make time for. We make time for the things we want to make time for too, you know? So don't give yourself the excuse. If you have it in you, it's a blessing and it's a gift that God gave you, and you don't want to waste it, you know? Strive.
Come on. I love it. Well, thank you so much. This was great. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. This was so great. Thank you for asking me to come.
This is exactly what we need. You know, we always see attorneys and they so high and, you know, like untouchable. You don't see that they're human and they, you know, do the same things that you do, use the same toilet, go to the gym. So this is exactly it. This was great. Thank you.
Absolutely.